So you have to look at different things. You need to first look at it from, like a programming perspective, because as you know, there's a great firewall in China. So, like the way you're working globally with, CDN, like a specific script, specific functionality, this doesn't apply in China. Because we're going to come back to it, but like there's like the programming part in terms of localization. That's the first thing. And the second part is the user experience. So user experience, we're gonna start by this. Of course, each and every single country has like their own specific ways to, like to have their own user experience, their own user interface. But I think China is at another level. Like everybody knows about the Chinese Great Firewall, and that the fact that the ecosystem is very different here. So having a different ecosystem means like that Chinese users have been used to really use different apps such as, WeChat, Alipay, and it has changed as well the way that users are, experience creator are working, within the system. So a lot of people now will open a website or an e-commerce platform within WeChat. So they will have to use all the social logging aspect. They will have to use maybe the coupon of WeChat, or like they will need to create like a mini program instead of like just, like doing an application. So localization on that part is very crucial. The Chinese users, they have like a different mindset. They have a different way to interact with a digital screen, with the digital world. And I think this is something that needs to be taken into consideration. For example, like when you're doing shopping on Amazon on an app, or in, like in France or in the US, the user experience is going to be very different than the user experience you're going to have on Tmall or you're going to have on JD. So, like when you're building something for an e-commerce perspective, you need to think about this and how, like the users are going to interact with your experience. So that's the first thing. And there is a good list of like 5, 10, 20 things that needs to, like that you need to check upon. But the most important thing is like, like the mindset and getting the inspiration from those experiences in order to make sure that the learning curve of the users coming on the experiences that you have created is going to be the smallest possible. So that's the first thing, the user experience. The second thing that you really have is like from like a technology perspective. And I think that's, one of the reasons why as well, there's not a lot of, like massive players coming to China and like that we are competing with, not a lot of agency will have like this knowledge about how to do digital in China. So you have the Great Firewall. So that means like you need to host your website in China. Not most of the time, but all the time. So you need to have, like your content delivery network in China. You need to have, everything registered in China. So that's one of the big challenge. And you need to use all the ecosystem. So including all the APIs of Alipay, of WeChat Pay, like starting up your mini program, or like interconnecting with your order management system, your CRM system. And of course, everything needs to be stored in data or anonymized, like if it's sent outside of China. So those are the other things to consider, because, a company that will go to, like Vietnam or Indonesia, or like a French company that will try to do e-commerce in Germany, like things will be, quite easy. Maybe like the only thing that you'll need to change is the language. But, like the infrastructure is easy. Like if you have a website that is like hosted in France, it's easy to do it in Germany. In China, like it's brought at a much different level. So like the localization is a real challenge for every brand. And then I would say one of the biggest challenges as well is that, a lot of, like the global solution, such as, Salesforce Commerce, Oracle Commerce, are not yet authorized in China. So that means
Salesforce server in Hong Kong, right?
Yeah.
The servers of Salesforce in Hong Kong.
So there's still a lot of companies using Salesforce, like that will probably require like a lawyer to discuss more like about the new regulation and so on. But like if we just talk about Salesforce Commerce, which is the e-commerce platform, then this is like a solution that do not have data center. So if you want to use it first, like in terms of legal aspect, it's a little bit shaky. And the second thing is that it's not in China. So like the time that you will have in order to just do a transaction or add something to your checkout is going to take, like maybe like 1, 2, sometimes 3 seconds. So therefore it's going to kill your user experience. So
I see.
Those solutions are not in China. So there's a lot of companies that are using those, big solutions globally, and they come to China and they cannot use it. So they need to use another solution, such as, like Magento or, another order management system, or, they might use Adobe, content management system globally or Sitecore, and then they come to China and they need to use something different.